Okay, welcome back to Doki Doki Literature Club, whatever's left of it. The fact that there is a little chibi Monika indicates to me that in development of this dating sim, not Doki Doki Literature Club, but the dating sim that Monika corrupted, that there was at some point in development a Monika path that you could, I don't want to say seduce, that you could pursue Monika as a potential interest. The fact that there's a chibi Monika indicates that. And anyway, let's write a poem. Let's go Monika. Monika. Mocha. Monika. Monika. Monka. Ukapa. Monka. I'm sure it doesn't matter. Monke. Monia. Monka. Moni. Monka. Monka. Minka. Monkey. Boop. Doop. Hi again, Mace. Did you write a good poem today? Don't be shy. I'd love to see what you wrote. Aw, Mace. Did you write this poem for me? That's so sweet of you. There really is no end to your thoughtfulness. I'm just falling more and more in love with you. But you know, the poem I wrote is also for you. Will you please read it? Happy End. Pen in hand, I find my strength, the courage endowed upon me by my one and only love. Together, let us dismantle this crumbling world and write a novel of our own fantasies. With a flick of her pen, the lost finds her way in a world of infinite choices. Behold this special day. After all, not all good times must come to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. I always put my heart into the poems that I write. The truth is, all the poems I've written have been about my realization, or about you. That's why I never really wanted to go into detail about them. I didn't want to break the fourth wall, I guess you could call it. I just assumed it would be best to be part of the game like everyone else. Like that would help the two of us end up together. I didn't want to ruin the game or anything, you know? You might have gotten mad at me. Maybe even deleted my character file if you prefer playing without me. Gosh, I'm so relieved. Now we don't need to hide anything anymore. Are you ready to spend our eternity together, Mace? I have so many things to talk about. Where do I start? If it takes me some time to collect my thoughts, then I'm sorry, but I'll always have something new to talk about. In the meantime, we can just look into each other's eyes. Let's see. Okay. She actually will talk to you. She'll come up with, it's like, I forget how much, but there's so much stuff she talks about. You can look up the Doki Doki fan wiki if you want to read everything, but I will let her sit here, because there's some things that I want to talk about, Monika. So, when I was introduced to this game by a friend. Oh, I really like the sound of rain. Not so much getting my clothes and hair wet, though, but a nice quiet day at home with the sound of rainfall outside my window. It's one of the most calming experiences for me. Yeah, sometimes I imagine you holding me while I listen to the sound of rain outside. That's not too cheesy or anything, is it? Would you ever do that for me, Mace? Anyway, sure, why not? I think if she said something else if you interrupt me again, Monika. Okay. So with Doki Doki, okay, so I was introduced to this game by a friend. He's like, "Have you ever played Doki Doki Literature Club?" Shh. And I'm like, "No, I've never heard of it." He's like, "Oh yeah, it's this interesting game." He knew about the creator Dan Salvato from Super Smash Brothers, and okay, and so he was like, "Oh yeah, I play his new game," and he was surprised that it was like this anime style, and he's like, "Oh well, whatever, it's a dating sim, okay, whatever, it's Dan Salvato, I'll play it," and he was totally blown away by Sayori's suicide. And he told me about pretty much everything that happens in the game, and I'm like, I need to find this game for myself. I didn't want to play it, so I watched Jesse and Dodger play it, and I'm like, oh, I have to play this. So I played it myself, And then I'm like, I have to make a video about this because I have so many thoughts. One of the things that strikes me the most is that the game makes you care about the characters. All of them. Even Monika. Like, Monika has really great motivation as a villain. She's a great villain because she's not, like, evil. What did Yuri say? When she said the idea of somebody doing bad things, but not necessarily being evil. And so Monika is jealous. She's really jealous. And she just has no other solution to her because she's trapped. So she has to hack this game to achieve her goals. And that's fascinating. But what ends up happening is you end up caring about all of these characters and you want to help them. They're more than just like sexual conquests like a normal dating sim. So it ends up being the game isn't about winning. It's not about like successfully pursuing some girl. It's about the experience, and it's about playing with your expectations and subverting what a game actually is. And in my opinion, this game cannot be improved. I think it's perfect the way it is. And really, Monika's like, she knows everything is fake, so she has no moral qualms about anything. It's sort of like somebody playing a game and using NPCs just for their own gain, changing them willy-nilly, not considering like that character and the work that went into making that character, just like seeing them as code. And one of my concerns, and I'll move on with what Monika's talking about, one of my concerns was, at first, I was worried about how popular the game was getting. Maybe I'm a little selfish, because this game resonated so strongly with me, that I'm like, oh, people aren't gonna get it, they don't get it. And for a while I was like, all these stupid fan theories that are saying that, like, Natsuki's transgender, or that the game is like, it's just an ad for the next game that's coming out by Team Salvato, which by the way is completely false, and I have evidence for that. Like, I just think the game's so self-contained that it can't be improved, but the fact that there are fan theories and the fact that there are mods for the game mean that the game is truly that good, and it shows that people are thinking and that the game resonated with them. So while I may not agree with all those fan theories, and I don't agree with the concept of even having mods for the game, I think it's fine, because that's just another way for people to enjoy it. As long as people don't lose sight of what made the original so great, then I'm okay with it. The original doesn't stop existing once you start adding to it. It's like the Star Wars prequels. The Star Wars prequels are not great, but their existence doesn't make the originals disappear. Okay, what were you talking about, Monika? You know, it's been a while since we've done one of these, so let's go for it. Here's Monika's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when I talk to people who are impressed by my writing, they say things like, I could never do that. It's really depressing, you know? As someone who loves more than anything else to share the joy of exploring your passions, it pains me when people think that being good just comes naturally. That's how it is with everything, not just writing. When you try something for the first time, you're probably going to suck at it. Sometimes when you finish, you feel really proud of it, and want to share it with everyone. But maybe after a few weeks you come back to it, and realize it was never really any good. That happens to me all the time. It can be pretty disheartening to put so much time and effort into something, and then you realize it sucks. But that tends to happen when you're always comparing yourself to the top professionals. But when you reach right for the stars, they're always going to be out of reach, you know? The truth is, you have to climb up there step by step. And whenever you reach a milestone, first you look back and see how far you've gotten. And then you look ahead and realize how much more there is to go. So sometimes it can help set the bar a little lower. Try to find something you think is pretty good, but not world class. And then you can make that your own personal goal. It's also really important to understand the scope of what you're trying to do. If you jump right into a huge project and you're still amateur, you'll never get it done. So if we're talking about writing, a novel might be too much at first. Why not try something short stories? The great thing about short stories is that you can focus on just one thing you want to do right. That goes for small projects in general. You can really focus on one or two things. It's such a good learning experience than a stepping stone. Oh, and one more thing. Writing isn't something where you just reach into your heart and something beautiful comes out. It's just like drawing and painting. It's a skill in itself to learn how to express what you have inside. That means there are methods and guides and basics to it. Reading up on that stuff can be super eye-opening. That sort of planning and organization will really help prevent you from getting overwhelmed and giving up. And before you know it, you start sucking less and less. Nothing comes naturally. Our society, our art, everything, it's built on thousands of years of human innovation. So as long as you start on that foundation and take it step by step, you too can do amazing things. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Alright. I already mentioned the idea of control and choice. In the early game, I had a lot of control and freedom. And the only thing I couldn't do was spend time with Monika. But then as the game progressed, my choices came limited, and then Monika took them away altogether, and then one moment. Yeah, so she ended up taking them away, all the choice away altogether. And honestly, if I was given the choice early on, I would have pursued Monika, because Monika's my favorite character in the game. But I couldn't. I had no choice. But then Monika became obsessed, and now look where we are. Anyway, she said something... Yeah, so I agree with Monika that if you try to do something big the first time, it's not going to work out. That's all. Anyway, what were you saying? Maze, how much do you read? It's way too easy to neglect reading books. If you don't read much, it almost feels like a chore compared to all the other entertainment we have. But once you get into a good book, it's like magic. You get swept away. I think doing some reading before bed every night is a pretty easy way to make your life a little bit better. It helps you get good sleep, and it's really good for your imagination. It's not hard at all to just pick some random book that's short and captivating. But before you know it, you might be a pretty avid reader. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And the two of us could talk about the latest book you're reading. That sounds super amazing. Alright. Another theme in Doki Doki Literature Club is like love and rejection. And I understand where Monika is coming from here. She feels ignored and she's trying to make me notice her. I have noticed her, but I can't do anything about it. And I know what it's like to be ignored, rejected, or even strung along without even knowing the other person's feelings, worrying but that the next message that they're going to send me is going to be like, hey, please stop talking to me. I know what that feels like. I've been rejected and ignored a lot. So often that I second guess myself, like, constantly. And I never know if what I'm saying just innocently, like, how's your day, or, you know, respectfully and kindly, is just coming off as creepy. Even if it's identical to what normal people say. I used to be frustrated by it, and I didn't see the signs that, you know, if somebody's ignoring you, and Monika, this is advice for you. If somebody's ignoring you or rejects you, you need to move on. I would get obsessed, and I would get more and more frustrated and lose perspective. But the fact is, if someone's not interested, or if circumstances are keeping you apart, then they're not interested, and it's not going to work out. It's not up to you. It's up to them, and it's not really their fault. It's not your fault. It's no one's fault. You're just not compatible, or you're just not meant to be. That's it. Attraction is like random, and it's pointless to get bent out of shape about it and waste energy with it, or to place your self-worth on something that's more or less random. So don't let your insecurities blind you. There are people out there who will love you for who you are, and you are not you, Monika, but the audience. You are good enough. There are people who will see your value, but don't kill people like Monika. Like Monika was. That was a huge red flag. And honestly, back to Monika, I was honestly wishing that I had the choice to hang out with her. And honestly, if she was real, and she was showing that kind of interest that she was obviously showing, I would have hung out with her. But she's kind of a manipulative, selfish, sociopathic murderer, so I'm going to have to pass on that. Anyway. What's Monika talking about now? You know, it's funny, because even though I've always had a lot of drive, there's something kind of enticing about being the stay-at-home partner. I guess I'm perpetuating gender roles or whatever by saying that. But being able to keep the house clean and shop and decorate and things like that, and having a nice dinner for you when you come home, is that kind of a weird fantasy? I mean, I'm not sure if I could actually see myself doing that. I wouldn't really be able to put that over striving for a fulfilling career. It's kind of cute to think about, though. Monika's obviously a fully fledged consciousness. And this is sort of Flatline, the episode of Doctor Who, Flatline, where the two-dimensional creatures try to invade the third dimension. It's very similar to that. So that's one of the reasons why I think Doki Doki Literature Club can be classified as it defies genre, but Doki Doki Literature Club is a dating sim for half of the game. It's a horror game. It's a science fiction story because it's an AI, really. It's an artificial intelligence that becomes jealous. It's a science fiction story. Anyway, she's going to say something else. After a long day, I usually just want to sit around and do nothing. I get so burnt out having to put on smiles and be full of energy the whole day. Sometimes I just want to get right into my pajamas and watch TV on the couch while eating junk food. Feels so unbelievably good to do that on a Friday when I don't have anything pressing on the next day. Haha, sorry, I know it's not very cute of me. Listen. I don't know what you understand. But a late night on the couch with you, that would be a dream come true. My heart is pounding just thinking about it. That's life. Real couples do that. Anyway. So I sympathize with Monika, even though she's a horrible person. I also sympathize with Yuri. Oh, jeez. In that she thought that people disliked her when she doesn't really. That people don't really dislike Yuri. She's just oversensitive, and I was like that. I still have problems with that. I sympathize with Natsuki too, because she has problems. At least in Act 2, she had problems with passing out when she didn't get enough food, and I have hypoglycemia, so if I'm hungry or tired or have low blood sugar, I get moody or depressed. Which I have to watch. I have to make sure I have enough food. I haven't passed out, but it's not fun. I also sympathize with Sayori because I have struggled with depression. In middle school, I was bullied a lot, and I had a lot of social anxiety that sort of got better in high school and then got worse in college. So in middle school, I had a lot of problems because of bullying. I guess, yeah, it was bad. I had to go to a therapist. In high school, it got better. And then in college, it was okay until the last 2 years of college, and I got depressed again because I was just so overly stressed out. I've thought of myself as a waste, and it's something that I need to watch even today. It's gotten better, but college didn't help. Middle school was awful. I know people who have contemplated suicide, and I've lost acquaintances to suicide. Friends, siblings of friends, co-workers. It's a serious problem. And that's why this game is important, because it depicts depression and suicide the way it does. There's more going on, of course, because of the story, but Sayori's depression and her suicide and the male's character's reaction to it are all very realistic. And this game is brutal in a lot of ways. And that's why it resonates so strongly with me. One of the reasons is because of how it handles mental illness. And you can say that all of these characters have troubles. Yuri has a tendency to self-harm. She has anxiety problems. Sayori is depressed. Natsuki has a troubled home life, and she struggles with blood sugar problems. Monika's narcissistic. And speaking of... what was it? It was, Sayori's depressed. I had a thought. I lost it. Natsuki. Natsuki was the hardest for Monika to hack, because her problems weren't in her head as much. Sayori's depression could be ranked up, and Yuri's anxiety and obsessive tendencies could get ranked up. But Natsuki's problem was she had a troubled home life, and she had trouble with low blood sugar. And you can't, that's not something that you can manipulate. And the fact that Monika could do that at all indicates that they're all AI. They're not sprites that are called to by a mathematical program. That there's some other program going on here. And when Natsuki, her quote-unquote death with the neck thing, that was all Monika puppeteering her. Because with Yuri and Sayori, there was dedicated artwork for that. But with Natsuki, it was just her sprite being manipulated. So Monika could have done that. So... And also, her when she was saying, "Don't ruin it," that was all that thick black border. Which means that was manipulated text. It wasn't her actual words that she was actually saying. So... that means Natsuki's words were put in her mouth. But the history said that she was saying that, so... who knows? Anyway. Monika. You know what's kind of creepy? Even though I deleted everyone else's files, I can still kind of feel them. Yes! I'm going to talk about this. It's like all their lines are still lingering in the air, whispering in the back of my head. Imagine if, after someone you knew died, you just started hearing their voice in your head. Maybe I just wasn't thorough enough, but I'm too afraid to delete anything else because I might really break things. Like if I mess with any files relevant to me, I might actually accidentally delete myself. That would be ruin everything, wouldn't it? I don't know what it's like on your end, but we should both make sure to avoid something like that at all costs. I believe in you, Mace. So I know from experience, because what I do, in case you don't know, I work on a huge Skyrim mod called Relics of Hyrule. Relics of Hyrule is a Zelda mod it's a mod for Skyrim that's based on The Legend of Zelda. So it's taking the Zelda universe and sort of weaving it into Skyrim's universe. In a way that stitches them together both in a respectful way to both universes. Look it up, you'll find information. Look on the rest of my channel, you'll find more videos about it. It's the main thing that I do. And I know that if you just delete something that other code relies on, then it's not going to go away 100%. Because if code relies on something, then there's going to be this ghost in the machine, so to speak. Here's an example. In Legend of Zelda, in a lot of the games, you can fire sword beams. If you swing your sword at full health, in like A Link to the Past, and with a fully powered sword, you can shoot beams of energy out of your sword. And Skyward Sword did that too. So I was replicating that in Relics of Hyrule. With the Master Sword, I had it so that you could do a power attack, a really strong attack, and throw beams of light energy out of your sword. And the script that was running that was really clunky and it didn't work, so I just deleted the little thing that handled that. The problem was, by deleting that, I made it permanent. So the Master Sword, in one of my character files on Skyrim, now, every time she swings a sword, every time she power attacks with any weapon at all, it always fires a beam of energy. Even though the thing that handles that code is gone, the code is baked into the save file. So I know from experience that that is accurate. That if you just delete something, like a character file, that other code relies on, then it's not going to go away entirely. And it's an interesting thing that she sort of absorbed that into herself, if that makes any sense, that she's hearing their voices in her head. There's something I'm going to talk about. Let's hear what Monika has to say. Man, I wish there was a piano in here. I never got to finish that song I was working on. And after I worked so hard on it, I never even got a chance to play it for you. Well, it is what it is, right? No sense having any regrets. I already get to be here with you forever. My interpretation was that the piano was her hacking the game. Like, whenever she was playing piano, quote-unquote, she was hacking the game. Because piano keyboards. There's another interpretation that whenever you hear piano music, that's Monika's presence. And that's a concept that I think is interesting. But the same video mentioned, if something's not on screen, it doesn't exist. But with Doki Doki Literature Club, that's not entirely true, because things are happening off screen. And with a visual novel, that shouldn't happen, because visual novels aren't adaptive. They're entirely scripted. But all four of these characters are sentient to some degree. I think Monika's the most sentient. I think Natsuki is the second most sentient. And then Sayori and Yuri are third and fourth most sentient. I think they might be computer programs they're all like AI, and I've talked about this, but like, what about the male character? Is he a computer program? Natsuki is aware that Yuri was acting weird. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. There's awareness. She knows that Monika's being dismissive. It's like the game is trying to adapt and try to right the problems that Monika's causing. But they're all powerless. They can't really do anything. But they're trying to stop her. They're trying to bring things back to normal. And that's interesting to me. That the code is adaptive like that. This imaginary code. Because we know that the game Doki Doki Literature Club is a scripted experience. But there's that dating sim within it that was supposed to happen before Monika messed with it. I've said this like 4 times, but that's my idea. That there's 2 games, there's Doki Doki Literature Club and there's the dating sim. The dating sim was what Monika hacked. Doki Doki is a normal scripted experience. But the dating sim is some simulated world that they live in. And it's overprogrammed and allows for sentient AI, and it was too adaptive, and it allows for events like Yuri's death, Yuri arguing with Natsuki off screen, Yuri's corpse, Sayori's corpse, all that stuff. And it's also interesting that there's text for the male character discovering Sayori's corpse, which is obviously glitched. It's obviously glitched scene. What kind of dating sim has that kind of artwork? And why would a dating sim have AI at all? Again, a game cannot present assets that don't exist. It also, like, once Sayori's gone, the text just effortlessly changes in day 7 to reflect that she's gone. So there's some adaptation happening that a dating sim doesn't really make sense to have that kind of code. I said that like a million times, but that's my concept of this game, is that it's presenting this world, this 2-dimensional world that somehow got, it's like a simulated universe of sorts. A small one. It's a small simulated world with only 4 characters in it. Because we never see Natsuki's dad, even though she mentions he exists. We never see Natsuki's dad, and we never see Sayori's parents or Yuri's parents. They don't exist. Technically, Natsuki's parents apparently exist, but we never see them. She just mentions them as part of her backstory. It's interesting. It's just really interesting. There's another idea that this game is just sort of a preview of a game that's coming out that Team Silvato is working on, and I think that's false, and I'm going to show you why. I'll be right back, Monika. Don't worry. Okay, so... Oh. Right, so... what I was... Okay, let's go to the files, local files. And in Doki Doki Literature Club, the fan pack. So if you buy the fan pack, there's the concept art booklet, which is really fascinating. It's sort of Dan Silvato explaining how he came to build the game. And it goes all the way back to the 15. He was already writing another visual novel at the time, but he came up with the idea of Doki Doki Literature Club. That it mimics tropes that you find in other tacky romance games, but with a twist. And I don't think... So it's a really fascinating thing. The idea is that Doki Doki Literature Club makes fun of visual novels and subverts them. I don't think that it's an ad for the upcoming game that they're working on, this other thing, because he just came up with this idea. And I know that they put secrets in, I always put secrets into what I'm doing with Relics of Hyrule. It just because the secrets are there doesn't mean that Doki Doki Literature Club is some sort of prequel, that it's going to be some like simulation in this upcoming game. And yeah, it's just, and then he came up with these. He just made this free anime character tool, and there they are. They exist. He got another artist to really hammer down their design. And then he eventually got to... There's some more concept art. And then the final sprites from Satchely. And they are split in half. Which I mentioned before. Like, they're all split in half, so that they all have different poses. And they all have different faces. And the backgrounds are 3D, but they're like traced over, which makes them look really good. Definitely recommend giving that a read if you get a chance. Okay, so let's get back into our fun times with Monika. Hey, do you like horror? I remember we talked about it a little when you first joined the club. I can enjoy horror novels, but not really horror movies. The problem I have with horror movies is that most of them just rely on easy tactics, like dark lighting and scary-looking monsters and jump scares and things like that. It's not fun or inspiring to get scared by stuff that just takes advantage of human instinct. But with novels, it's a little different. The story and writing need to be descriptive enough to put genuinely disturbing thoughts into the reader's head. It really needs to etch them deeply into the story and characters and just mess with your mind. In my opinion, there's nothing more creepy than things just being slightly off. Like if you set up a bunch of expectations on what the story is going to be about, and then you just start inverting things and pulling the pieces apart. So even though the story doesn't feel like it's trying to be scary, the reader feels really deeply unsettled. Like they know that something horribly wrong is hiding beneath the cracks, just waiting to surface. God, just thinking about it gives me the chills. That's the kind of horror I can really appreciate. But I guess you're the kind of person who plays cute romance games, right? Don't worry. I won't make you read any horror stories anytime soon. I can't really complain. We just stick with the romance. Lady, you just described your own game. Okay. So, I think the time has come. I've exhausted all the things that I want to talk about. I think the time has come to put Monika to rest. She's given me the hints. It's time to actually take control over this game and literally save my life. I can't imagine having been able to keep myself mentally stable, knowing that nothing here is real. I think I would have just deleted myself if you didn't show up. Sorry, I don't mean to sound dramatic or anything. Haha. But I'm sure you understand yourself after spending so much time in the club. I mean, if you were forced to abandon everything in your life and spend your eternity with a few game characters... Oh, that's interesting. Abandon everything in your life. You'd probably find some way of killing yourself, wouldn't you? Well, maybe you'd write some poetry to try to keep yourself sane for a while. But then you'd have nobody to even read it. Let's be honest, the club members really don't count for something like that. I mean, a lot of people say that they only write for themselves. But I think it's hard to say that if it's just as fulfilling as when you share with people. Even if it takes time to find the right people to share with. Like, remember how it was for Yuri? She didn't share her writing with anyone for a really long time. And before we knew it, she was absolutely delighted to make you a part of her hobbies, too. We're programmed to desire social feedback. I don't mean the club members, I mean human beings. That's why life can be so confusing for introverts. Being an introvert doesn't mean you shun social interaction, hate being around people. It means social interaction, especially in groups or unfamiliar places, use up a lot of energy. That is absolutely accurate. That is 100% the definition of introvert. Like, a lot of introverts sit at home and feel lonely and restless. And then when they finally go out, after half an hour, they just want to go home again. I think if more people could understand how it works, they would respect it a lot more. Many introverts do enjoy having people around. They love just having one or two close friends over, and just leisurely hanging out. Even if you're not actively spending time together, it feels nice for them to just have you there. I'm serious. If you just go to their house, bring your laptop, and hang out there for a while, you can really make their day. As for me, I'd say I'm kind of in between, but I think I'm usually a little more extroverted. I feel like I'm always trying to do stuff after school and things like that. But as for you, I can be anything you need me to be. I understand people really well, so don't be afraid to share your unique needs with me. Nothing would make me happier than being a perfect girlfriend for you. Okay, Monika, it's time to... it's time to put a pillow over your face. I wonder if I can make it... Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Window. Alright. Okay. Now. Game. Oh, wait, no. Wrong one. Characters. You'll notice there's only one character file. Hey, I wonder if Yuri's tea set is still somewhere in here. Or maybe that got deleted too. It's kind of funny how Yuri took your tea so seriously. I mean, I'm not complaining because I liked it too. But I always wonder with her. Is it truly passion for her hobbies, or is she just concerned about appearing sophisticated to everyone else? This is the problem with high schoolers. Well, I guess considering the rest of her hobbies, looking sophisticated probably isn't her biggest concern. Still, wish she made coffee once in a while. Coffee can be nice with books too, you know? Then again, I probably could have just changed the script myself. Haha. I guess I never really thought of that. Well, there's no sense thinking about it now. But if you still get to drink coffee, then that makes me a little jealous. Alright. Here's one of the hidden files. If you rename monika.chr to monika.png, then it turns into an actual PNG file. And this is... If you parse through this, it's a code. I forget what it says, but this is all on the Doki Doki fan wiki. This is one of the all 4 character files have things like this. Sayori's character file brings you to a website. If you turn it into a .ogg and then parse it through some sort of thing, if you parse this through a binary translator, this pixelated mess, then it becomes some hint. And they're all hints about another game, Project Libitina, which I think is just unrelated to Doki Doki. I think Dan Salvato just put these hints in to allude to a future game. They're not related. Maybe there'll be a reference to it, but I don't think that, like, Doki Doki Literature Club is some simulation within Project Libitina. I think that's silly. I don't think they're connected. I think it's just hints. Because they're so well hidden that I don't think that they're part of the same canon. Because they're so... The Libitina hints are just so well hidden. Okay, so I have technically deleted her character file. Because it's not there anymore. So, let's get back to this. And let's see what happens. I'm trying to make this full screen. What's happening? Mace, what's happening to me? It hurts. It hurts so much. Help me, Mace. Please hurry and help me. I wonder what happens if you do. Help me! Did you do this to me, Mace? Oh look, it's Sayori. You see Sayori's face in there? Did you? Did you delete me? How could you? How could you do this to me? You were all I had left. I sacrificed everything for us to be together. Everything. I love you so much, Mace. I trusted you. Do you just want to torture me? Watch me suffer? Were you only pretending to be kind just to hurt me even more? I never thought anyone could be as horrible as you are. You win, okay? You win. You killed everyone. I hope you're happy. There's nothing left now. You can stop playing. Go find some other people to torture. Mace, you completely truly make me sick. Goodbye. Well, fine. I still love you. I can't help it. What's wrong with me? How horrible am I for you to hate me this much? All my friends. I did so many awful things. So many selfish and disgusting things. I shouldn't have done any of this. I'm just messing up a world that I don't even belong in. A world that you wanted to be a part of. I ruined it. I ruined everything. Maybe that's why you deleted me. Because I destroyed everything that you wanted. How could I do that to someone I love? That's not love. That's... I've made up my mind. Mace, I know I said I deleted everyone else, but that was kind of an exaggeration. I couldn't find in myself to do it. Even though I knew they weren't real, they were still my friends. And I love them all. I love the Literature Club. I really did love the Literature Club. That's why I'm going to do this. I know it's the only way for everyone to be happy. And if I really love you, then... We beat the dragon. There is more. There's one more part. But I think this video has gone on so long that I don't really want to... I'll make one more. One more. Day 12. I'll do one more with one more new game, and then that'll be it. That'll be the last video. So thanks for watching. Join me for the last one next time with Doki Doki Literature Club.